I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Tribe and Nerds.
On the boat when we jumped off the boat and we went to the shore. If you beat me so bad and I just used my arms, how bad did you beat me?
You know what? I can get loud too. What the I can get loud too.
I don't want to argue with you. That's what I'm from you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. We're back for Survivor for Noobs with Will and JJ talking about Survivor Pearl Islands. We're doing episodes 3 through 6, so we're now going to do 4 episodes at a time for the next few weeks to finish the season. So it'll be 3 through 6, 7 through 10, and then 11 through 14 are the finale. So 3 through 6 is an eventful set of episodes for sure. Things definitely twisted in the game from the beginning. So let's get into it with episode 3. What are your guys' impressions of episode 3, which is where Morgan loses their the next 2 challenges in a row?
JJ. I mean, oh gosh, I watched so many all in a row. Episode 3, one of the things that is sticking out in my head is that we're actually being smart about the way we approach the pirate looting now, because they're trying to hide things or make things unusable. I mean, boiling gross rags in a pot, I don't know if that's actually going to stop me from taking a pot because, I'll just boil more water in it. But,
yeah.
Morgan Tribe definitely falling apart this episode. So they needed the wins they got in the next few.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to those, obviously. But Will, your thoughts on the 3rd episode?
Episode 3 was the episode where Rupert was MVP, dog.
Yes.
Dude. I mean, again, it was just another episode where Drake was just dominating. And you had Austin just again on the verge of just kind of wanting to quit and all that. And then you've seen it like in the immunity challenge too. Like it just came down to those two. But like I'm not even gonna lie, like they were out there for a while. It is what it is at that point. Like that was like the one challenge where I was like, you know what? I can't blame Austin because nobody else could have done what he did in that. Maybe Andrew. Andrew might have been able to do it, but like other than that, between those two, I was just like, man. No, even when they lost, I was like, unless this man just full on quits, you shouldn't vote him off this one. Not this one. Nobody else could have done that.
Right. Yeah, it's a good thing that they didn't vote him off because they had to put somebody up against Rupert. So like,
Jesus, Rupert, like he doesn't look like he's going to be as much of an absolute unit as he is. He just consistently is dominating in terms of strength, and it's amazing.
That's that blue collar strength right there. It ain't like all the pretty looks, chiseled abs or everything. That's true dad strength right there. You know what I'm talking about? Everyone goes to challenge their dad, and then for some reason they're the strongest people in the world, even though you're like, you look at them, and you're like, you're out of your prime, and they're still super strong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, so yeah, you have Rupert like sinking the boat by himself.
Well, at first, the way that challenge was going, I was like, oh, because Austin's boat.
Yeah, he sunk it himself.
He sunk himself, but like at first they like split off, and at first it was like, okay, that ain't a bad strategy because it looked like Morgan was actually doing decent at like pulling the plugs, but then the moment it came where it became 2-on-1 and you just had Rupert who was pushing down the boat, it was like, okay, yeah, you need the other boat to come help. But then the moment it got to a 2-on-1, it was just like, oh geez, GG, done, game over.
Yeah.
it was over. And then like, yeah, like we said, the ropes challenge, holding up the tribe member in the tripod, like that was no one else could have done it besides maybe Andrew, but like Austin and Rupert were the obvious choices for that.
Oh yeah, you got like really good anchors there, and I think just the biggest thing was like the moment like they had their good positioning, and then the moment it came to where they had to just straight hold it, and you couldn't even rest the line on their post.
Right.
The moment like it was like the moment you lost your footing once, like you were not getting it back, and the moment like Austin slipped, I was like, yeah, it's done. Unless he pulls out like a miracle, like the moment he lost his grip, it's like that's going to be so much weight to try to get back.
Mhm.
Honestly, I thought one of the girls were gonna quit because that positioning that they were hanging in was so uncomfortable. I was expecting at least one of them to be like the ones to like really teeter into breaking first.
Right.
But they held it in. I would have sucked to be dangling there.
Yeah.
Honestly, super impressive performances from everybody involved in that. Like even Austin, like letting go when he did. Still, I mean, it's an impossible test of endurance. He lasted a good long time.
Yeah.
They got to the point where they had to do like the tiebreaker round where it's just like, all right, pure strength and will, just stand there and hold it.
Right. Yeah. So, and then the other eventful thing before we get to the episode 3's tribal council is Sandra versus Fairplay fighting, and Sandra going, "I can get loud too. What the F?" And it was such a funny fight because then like, and then then Fairplay just being super cocky about it. Like she's got a mill that she won't be the final one, and just like, I don't know, there's just so much funny stuff being said in the argument. So
yeah, this is the first time that I really started to form an opinion of Jonny Fairplay. Like other people were saying he was annoying, saying he was a jokester, but throughout the beginning of this season, they just haven't been showing anything from the Drake tribe. And so like I just wasn't getting much on the people who weren't Rupert.
Right.
But like I went from, this is where I started to go from neutral to I don't like Jonny.
Yeah, I mean, he's meant to be the villain of the season, and like we're meant to hate this guy. Will, your thoughts on this fight?
It was as much of a weasel as John was. Like you definitely see where that it can play to your advantage because like he was doing really good at like even though he had a lot of attention on him, he was very good at deflecting. So I mean, I think he's like he shows like where as much of a jokester as he is pretty strategic, and it takes skill to play that villain role and survive because anybody could be a dick, but you could play it very sloppily and get voted off if you're not careful. But John does a really good job at least so far, being like that antagonizing gaslighter.
Yep.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
But he's really good at doing that, but then getting the spotlight off him.
Right.
And I think that's a very good skill to have.
Agreed. Yeah, it's really funny to watch that and see how it progresses. But then we get to tribal, and for Morgan, and Lil is voted out. So any thoughts on Lil getting voted out third here?
Yeah, I mean, no. I don't think it could have gone any other way at this point, really.
Yeah.
Like, because at this point, even though like you have Austin who's been on the fence, like I said before, like he was the anchor of the challenges there. And it's just like, it's interesting, like as the season's going, like you notice like different reasons why people vote off because you're still in the team phase. So on the one hand, you want people to you want to have a strong asset because that was the big thing Andrew always was preaching on was people's mentality, but at the same time, Austin was just such a physical force in not even just challenges, but the camp itself too.
Right.
it's like you got to make your votes on that because it's like, yeah, because you're still surviving out there. There's more days of you just being at camp than you are at a challenge.
Right.
And so I feel like that's where it plays a lot of impact. And Lil's got the spirit, but she just was struggling to keep up. Like she's got the attitude for it and the very nauseous optimism, I'm not gonna lie. I got sick of it very quick. But gotta vote her off at some point. You couldn't there was nobody else really.
Right.
I'm curious at this point, Will, what your opinion is of the decision they made to keep Austin when Austin was asking them to vote him off.
I think it came down to the fact that they had more faith in his capabilities than he did at the same time. So I think they were judging it as he was just thinking emotionally.
Mhm.
And because their spirits have been down because they've been on a losing streak at this point. So a lot of people are probably feeling negative. So like in their mind, they're thinking is like all it takes is just one win and we can boost our morale back up again, and the idea of quitting will be in the past. And I think they were just banking on Austin's upside of just the physical force that he was. And if I would see me, because I was thinking about it, like if I was in that situation, me being the person I am, I probably would have leaned more of voting him off and keeping Lil because you can't teach like physical talent either, but it's hard to keep a good mentality.
Mhm.
And having Lil, as annoying as it gets at times, at least she's somebody who's trying to
Right.
keep up the spirits and at least tries to participate. Whereas when Austin had moments where he would check out and he'd just do nothing at camp. So it's just like, I would probably lean more towards just answering his wishes and be like, all right, you want to go? Fine. Go. Get out of here.
Yep. I mean, as I know you guys know because you dealt with it in your guys' first season with voting Drake off. Like anybody asks to be voted off, you just give them what they want.
Right.
And we're not even like in a stressful environment like they are.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. You guys are well fed and everything. So
exactly. So it's just like if you're on an island, you got somebody who's mentally just quitting like that.
Mhm.
It's hard not to consider just getting them off the island because
right.
who knows? You're just gonna get to a point where they just stop doing shit.
Right. Yep. All right, so in episode 4, this is where the entire game starts to change, and this is where some interesting decisions get made. So we get to this reward challenge first, which is like the sand and water puzzle. Austin thinks he's gonna drown and has to be saved, and then Drake wins their 6th challenge in a row and gets like the treasure chest. So any thoughts on this part?
Yeah. I'm gonna let Will go first. Sorry, I got distracted.
You can go first, Will.
This was an episode that pissed me off.
Oh, I know.
It pissed me off because it starts off pretty solid. Drake again winning the challenge.
Mhm.
And it's just like, cool, you guys got momentum. You got your final clue. You eventually find your treasure chest, which
Mhm.
is pretty nice, And like, then they decide, hey, we are sick and tired of all the people at this camp.
Yep.
Let's throw a challenge.
Yep. And it's a really dumb decision because anytime someone does this in the pre-merge in Survivor history, it almost always backfires.
It's just, and there was also like, because even if they didn't even know about because you didn't know until what the twist was
Mhm.
until afterwards.
Right.
But even still, because I think if I remember correctly, Jeff said that there was like a surprise at the end of whoever wins.
At the immunity challenge, yes.
Yeah. The moment you hear there's an additional thing on top of immunity, it should never have been in the question of throwing a challenge to begin with. But like the moment you hear that there's a surprise, immediately y'all should have just been like, all right, fuck that plan. We're gonna win it because there's a surprise. We need to see what this is. And if it's for the winner, it has to be good.
Right.
And so them throwing the challenge in that manner was one, so stupid because you killed your momentum. You created discourse in the tribe that didn't need to be there, all because you just couldn't handle somebody's attitude. It's like, you guys been winning, keep the advantage. Like, you got to keep that advantage and momentum going. And then you just ended up losing your biggest provider to the whole tribe in Rupert for the night.
Yeah.
Not even just for the night, but then like the next like reward challenge.
Right.
You just lost him. All because you just wanted to vote somebody off. And if I remember, I think it was Burton that went.
Yeah, one of their other strongest members.
Yeah. And it's just like, you didn't even get off the girl you were complaining about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because I think they want what? They wanted Michelle gone, didn't they?
They wanted Krista.
Oh, yeah, Krista. They wanted Krista.
Yeah.
They didn't even vote her off. They went for Burton, their other strongest person. So you just handicapped yourself like right away. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, if they were gonna like, I guess weaken the Burton, Sean, Michelle, like why didn't they just go for I hate saying this just because like voting off Michelle because she's a woman, but like I mean, vote off Michelle, or maybe you do vote off Sean, but like keep Burton, who is like proven to be the other asset to your tribe.
Right. You don't get rid of your powerhouses. If you're gonna do a stupid play, at least try to go out and finish the play through.
Mhm.
You wanted to get her off.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, you know what, Burton, why? You just handicapped yourself, and it's just so dumb. I knew it was gonna come at some point that they were like something was gonna happen with the Drake tribe, that something had to. It wouldn't have been a good TV show if it wasn't. But something that stupid to happen just made me so mad because I was like, it could have been avoided. That could have been a challenge that like they could have won pretty easily. I wouldn't even say pretty easily, but they could have competed a lot better. Because then they got to the end where literally they're just on opposite sides of their board, and it's just, all right, go ahead. Let her.
Right. I did
let her
like the
walk.
chess challenge too, but like, yeah, I mean, if like Rupert and Burton don't sit out, I actually do think that they probably win this challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Couple of other thoughts. I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of throwing a challenge outright, but their reasoning just wasn't it. Like, if you're going to throw a challenge, it has to be for a damn good strategic reason. And I want to get someone out because we're starting to get sick of each other is not that reason. It will never be that reason because you are now opening the possibility for you to be the person who gets voted off. And that's exactly what happened to one of the people who wanted to throw the challenge.
Yep, backfired on Burton.
Yep. I knew something was going to happen from the beginning of the episode, and I told Jake this when we were watching it. It's because, particularly in these early Survivor seasons, they don't do a very good job of keeping you guessing. Like, they forecasted it so hard because all of a sudden, oh, we're going to focus on the Drake tribe all episode. So clearly we're developing the team dynamics here so that you have an idea of what things are like before someone gets voted off at the end of the episode. I thought that the challenge was really fun. That would, I mean, I would have so much fun doing that. I could just see getting a group of friends together and pushing each other off platforms. There were a couple times where I couldn't tell if someone was throwing or if they actually were going or like getting pushed off. Like the first person who went against Austin, he just like picked them up.
It was Michelle. Yeah, he just grabbed her and threw her.
He picked her up, turned, and like set her down in the water. And I'm like, I don't know if you tried or not, but
you were there. You were there.
Well, and then Fairplay gets just like dunked as well because he has no upper body strength either. So,
and then Sandra, in true Sandra fashion, just avoiding everything and going along the side.
Hey, you know your strengths.
Yeah.
No, for real. I mean, Sandra is so good at this game, even in these early parts. She's not making moves. But she's doing such a good job flying under the radar and, you know, navigating the middle of the team. She has never caused waves. She's never been the target of anything. Even when she lost a challenge, nobody was looking at her to vote her off.
Right.
She's in a wonderful position right now.
Yeah. For sure. I don't even think you could tell me a strategic good reason to throw a challenge. There's no reason you could throw my way. That would convince me to be like, yes, we're going to throw this challenge.
The only thing I can think of right now that I think might be a reason is occasionally, like I know I've seen times on Survivor where Jeff has offer like a give up now and this is what you get sort of thing.
Mm.
And so if we go back to the Survivor game that you and I just were in, the mini, like the planking challenge, for example, if I had been offered an out, I would take that. I didn't see myself winning that challenge. But like deciding on throwing the challenge beforehand, I don't know if I can think of
See, because I see that a difference though. Like if you're in the middle of a challenge and you're getting to a point where you're just like, all right, I'm not outlasting something, you know what I mean? It's more so you hitting your limit. But you going into a challenge saying we're gonna throw it no matter what, even before hearing what could come with winning.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so stupid to me. Like I individually, maybe there's more strategy because that's on you. You play yourself. Cool. But the team should never, ever try to throw a challenge. Never, especially when you're in the early session of the game. Never, ever throw a challenge. Especially if you've been on a winning streak and you're dwindling their numbers, because the more their numbers get dwindled, the faster you get to emerge.
Right.
Like and then you go in there with your team and for an every man themselves situation. However, they have to adapt to you. They're more likely to join you on an alliance because they have nobody.
Yep.
And I don't know why you would ever throw up the numbers games. Like you don't throw out the number game. It's so dumb. And also, if you really wanted to be in a situation where you wanted to play back and be like, hey, it wasn't my fault, the more tribe members you have, the more likely you are to be able to sit out in a rotation to where you could sit there and be like, hey, I wasn't even in the challenge. I sat out. We agreed that I would sit out this round. It wasn't my fault. That rotation plays into an excuse factor that you could use or to keep yourself in that middle area to where you're not going to be the one blamed for a loss of a challenge.
Yeah.
Which I can't stress enough. I think it just was so stupid. And then you decide to vote. You don't even commit to your plan. You vote out Burton.
Yeah.
The fuck? Why? You already handicapped yourself once. All right, guess what? We're just going to cut off the other hand while we're at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a silly move for sure. I mean, I like it was a bad idea by Burton, as we've said, to even suggest throwing the challenge, but like this was just a bad move for the tribe, as we will talk about with them just continuously losing more. So but then we also have the twist in this episode where Morgan kidnaps Rupert, which ends up also boosting their morale and everything. Like this was a great like twist for them and a great decision for them to bring Rupert over.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
And it completely changed the game afterward. Not that they knew that was going to happen. I don't think anyone could have seen how that was going to change, how things would go going forward. But yeah, bringing Rupert over was such a good decision for so many reasons, because I don't think that they saw him as a potential candidate for getting voted out. So that's leaving him in for that chance doesn't matter. They kept him out of the next challenge and put him on their team for the next challenge. I don't know if they realized what an asset he was going to be to the camp while he was there, but holy shit, was he?
Yep.
But like more so than that, I'm impressed at how Rupert navigated that. He built such strong relationships with people on the other tribe, and he set himself up so well for the post-merge game, better than anybody else possibly could be.
Oh yeah. He turned that to an advantage. And like, I think also just like, I mean, it plays in the factor. If you can provide food and you show the usefulness, you gain so much favor in the eyes of people. Like he came over, they were in a situation where they were genuinely starving.
Right.
And he came in, fished for them, gave them better food quality. And and then also he didn't even throw the challenge for them. Like it wasn't even like he was going out to win, because he's like, he was like that when they threw up the suggestion of like throwing the challenge. He's like, if I'm in the challenge, I'm going to play to win. That's why they benched him. But like, so he was like with them and he was like, we're going to win the rewards. And then like the crazy thing to me, and I think this is where it was really smart of him in the long run, I think it would help him. He didn't even stay with them for the reward. He went back
It wasn't even a question. It was just, you can do this or you can go back, and he was gone.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going home. And it's like, dog, that's probably one of the best things you could have done, like for terms of reestablishing yourself back. Because they started doing the chip in, like, it's like, because they were talking about, they're like, it's like, if the merch comes, he's going to be in the best spot because he's made friends with them and all that. What if he's telling secrets and stuff like that? They were already panicking, but he could have stayed for the reward, and then come back. And I think that would have been a worse look. He just came back. And he was just like, all right.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. So also with the Burton blind side, we also have Fairplay showing up to tribal council drunk.
No rules against it.
So much.
There's no rules against it.
Yeah, there's no rules, but it's just like, he's literally going skinny dipping before tribal and just like.
Well, the thing that really got me about this tribal, and Jeff asked it straight up of him too, like, how are you voting? And he was like, I'm just gonna I think he said astrology guided or something.
Yeah, the astrological signs.
And I understand if you're trying to deflect, which maybe he was, like, I'm in some of his confessionals with him talking about all these different alliances that he has. Maybe he's just trying to play the strategic game and not tip his hand.
Right.
But that's also a really tongue-in-cheek way of saying, or like of responding to that, when it is about who you're going to vote to send home. Like, we all understand it's a game. It's not a game where you vote people randomly. That's just an asshole way to play Survivor.
Right. And in the long run, it's going to screw you over if you vote randomly.
Right, because no one wants to play with you.
Right.
If you're going to vote randomly.
Tell you what, I thought the immunity challenge, like, it started off like everybody was just handling it very well. Like, I mean, there was like a few people who were like somewhat struggling, but even then, it's not like they quit. They were just going at it. Came down to a tiebreaker, which was I was actually kind of surprised, to be honest.
We're talking about the smoothie challenge, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that one was so gross. I mean, okay, listen, I probably would do fine at that challenge because I'm really good at the food challenges, but watching other people do it. Oh, when Sandra was trying so hard not to vomit, I could not watch the screen. Oh my God. But no, God, the part, I don't know that I necessarily agreed with the strategic gameplay that they were trying to do, that the Drake tribe was trying to do, but they made a plan, regardless of whether or not I agree with it. They made a plan. And people didn't follow the plan. People didn't even try to follow the plan.
Yeah, Michelle decided not to be the decoy when she should have been.
100% deserves to be voted out for that. Like, you agreed to this thing with your tribe, and then you didn't do it.
Right.
And it wasn't a tribe thing. It was a whole tribe thing. Everybody.
Right.
I just don't understand. Like, it would be one thing if she made an attempt at acting and then it didn't pan out, but like.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Right. It was a bad move, and especially for Michelle, who was already the only person not in on the Burton vote. Like, Sean got clued in right before tribal by Fairplay, and then like Michelle's on the out. So like it's just another reason that she gave them to vote her out.
Yep.
So
I didn't expect them to pick Sandra, though, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised based on the way that people were handling the first drink that they had. Sandra seems to struggle with it a lot, and I were looking at that from the other tribe. She's probably who I think we'd have the easiest time beating. Like, honestly, what was her name? The woman who got voted out this episode? Michelle. She might have cost them the challenge.
Yes, she did, I think.
Because she very well
could go with the plan.
Yeah.
Or attempt to go with the plan. Because
right.
when it comes to other people's choice, like, sometimes you never know, like, what they're going to pick,
If they had pulled off the plan, she would have gotten, like, the point of that was to get her voted into the end, and she could have beaten Dara. So, like, Sandra's coming away from this feeling shitty because she feels like she lost the challenge for them. But it's like, Yeah. And she
They weren't set. They were like nobody had the expectation for Sarah to be there in the beginning.
right.
Right.
Like,
And-
like if you, especially when it was in like they voted Sandra in, they were like, you got forced into this. Like,
Right.
only so much you can do. Yeah, and it's not like Sandra did that bad, to be honest. Like she was,
He did well.
yeah, she threw up a couple times. Like for as shitty as that situation was, she was handling it as best she probably could.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think she wasn't really that far off of Dara.
No.
Yeah, everybody did a great job with this challenge too. Like these contestants are playing to win,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
which that really I think is one of the best points of this season so far.
Yeah.
Everybody, even when they're failing, it's like they still gave it their all.
Right. Totally agree with that. So yeah, and then some other moments from episode 5, you have Rupert. Michelle's literally barfing and Rupert's just like still talking to her about strategy. Cleaning up her barf. Like it's really funny.
Hey, at least you ain't going anywhere. Might as well.
Right.
What else you gonna do?
True. Any other moments from episode 5? Are we ready to hit episode 6?
I think we're good. 6 probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So episode 6, we have some really cool challenges. We have the cannons challenge, and then we have the, holding the weight up on your shoulders, which I believe Rupert still holds the record to this day of like the most weight.
He's up by what, 200 pounds? I think a little
Yeah.
bit over 200.
Yeah, I could not believe that, man.
Yeah.
Him and Andrew both were just incredible.
Yes.
This challenge.
What's her name? Oh my god, I'm blanking.
Krista.
Huh?
Krista, the woman who was in the
Yeah, the last one for Drake.
Yeah.
She fucking showed up.
Yeah.
I don't care. She was the last one there, and she was up at the same weight Austin was.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane. Like, that was mad props. And then Andrew really showed out too. Like, Andrew surprised me, but like, that dude, he's got the will for it. Like, and he held his own. He was low-key strong.
Yeah, he proved himself to be a competent leader that can lead his tribe back from being like basically on the edge of extinction. Like,
Oh yeah, like
Also, that challenge in and of itself was, I think, the strongest testament of leadership, because it's not simply strength. If it were just strength, then Austin would dominate that challenge.
right.
It's like Jeff is so fond of saying it's willpower.
Yeah.
And Andrew was there giving it his absolute all for his tribe.
Mhm.
His absolute all. What do y'all think of the strategy for this one?
Like the strategy for them to put the weight on certain people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how they're picking.
Well, so I agree with like trying to get the strongest guys out like immediately. Like you kind of want to set them up so that they're like holding a bunch of weight for a bit so they drop out quicker. But also like you want to split it up a little bit between the other two guys for after your strongest guy goes out. So I guess I agree with that strategy. I feel like Drake losing is mainly because like I don't think they expected Sean to drop out when he did, and Sean, I think, in my mind, cost them the challenge.
ooh, right. Yeah, Sean did go a little bit earlier for them.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think Morgan went with the good strategy of piling up on Rupert.
Yeah.
'Cause you gotta get your anchor out. They did the same thing with Austin too. But I think honestly, especially if like you think back of how the other challenges would have gone, I would have spent more time probably if I was Drake spreading out the weight, making sure people were holding up weight to build up exhaustion. Because especially if they're just focusing on one person, like for
Right.
Martin, and Rupert was up at like 200 pounds and he was holding it for a bit. So it's like I would have been spreading out the weight too, because then the other tribe, they're starting to get fatigued, and then eventually where once Austin drops out, then you could be like, all right, you, they might start dropping some weight. But I think honestly, no strategy was going to predict Andrew holding out as long as he did.
Yeah.
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
think I think it's just a matter of I don't think there was any strategy that could have planned for Andrew to be the one to last as long as he did.
Yeah.
But like he really showed a lot of will in that challenge and just strength too. Like he he's low key strong. Like he was like we forget. Like I would argue in terms of challenge and terms of strength as a tribe member, Andrew was their strongest one. Austin, pure strength, yeah, is physically stronger, but as a tribe member and just contributing, Andrew was the best on the Morgan tribe.
Oh, agreed completely with that. Like he was absolutely the best from that tribe. So, and then like other moments before we get to tribal, you have Fairplay Luden and Andrew Savage calls him a pissant.
Yep.
And like
Why would he say that? Like, what do you have to gain from telling the other tribe that?
That they threw the challenge and like rubbing it in their face. Yeah.
Yeah. What like I don't understand.
It's that
a villain.
it's cockiness and just position of power, you know, like they just got off winning a rewards challenge. And which that's a fun challenge right there, just shooting off cannons. I wish I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I did something similar before, nothing like an ancient cannon, but you know, like I wanted to do that. And I saw it and like the fucking like gun nerd in me kind of came out and I was just sitting there, I was just like, how do you aim this? Like how are you gonna adjust for this? Because some of the shots, like I watched it and it would just hook. And I was just like, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, man, you gotta line this up better, but Drake locked in like on the last few shots. I mean, I think they had the advantage being the second one to shoot because you're guaranteed another shot, especially when it was tied. Like I'm guaranteed a shot regardless, which is huge. I would have definitely rather have gone second, and then also going second, you can see how the cannons are gonna be shooting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you were talking about the aiming, and this was something I was telling Jake too while we were watching it. I think this was an excellent challenge for being very equally like skilled. Like who's I don't think any of them has a background, or at least none of them has expressed a background that would make them adept at shooting cannons. So we've all probably got about the same skill level, which I think makes this challenge good. Also, that's a really nice, I think this is a nice change of pace from some of the other ones that have been very endurance or constitution based.
Yeah.
This one came down to a lot of patience in a lot of ways and adjusting, being able to like think, and also luck too, because I forget what's her name. I think it was Trish, like said she hit a target she wasn't even aiming at.
Right.
Like it hit a target.
Yeah.
Luck plays into a factor in it. You know, you got to, especially with when you don't know how the elements are going to play into this little tiny cannonball you're shooting out. And it's not like that those cans were like maxed out on gunpowder or anything. You know what I mean? It was just enough to be safe and them to still get a good impact to shoot.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I just look back at some of these challenges in these older seasons and it's just like I just feel like Survivor lost so much of its magic from these seasons and like doing these types of challenges that go with different themes and like it's just not the same. But
I think what happens though is like when you go on for so long, it's hard to always be original to come up with something new. So it's like, and nostalgia plays into a factor of it. I think anybody like devoted, like you're far more devoted to the game than me and JJ are. We're just starting off, and even some of our friends on the outside, they're talking like, "Hey, you guys talk," and I think nostalgia plays into a big factor, and that's just like that with anything. Like you always think about like the first time you've seen something or first magic. You know, I think I get what you mean, but like the challenges like so far, I do dig them keeping to a theme with the pirate.
Yeah,
like atmosphere that they're building up. It's just, and I also I think they pick like the characters that come onto these shows definitely fit the theme too in a lot of ways. And Johnny's like a prime example of just dude scum. He is, but he's playing it smart and it's frustrating about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in a lot of reality, he shouldn't have been there as long as he is because of his attitude, but he's playing it just right where he's pushing the right buttons and knowing actually when to shut the fuck up at times.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it seems like the dude never shuts up.
Right. He definitely doesn't seem like that. Other moments before we get to this tribal council and what happens there, but we also have some animal moments. You have Morgan and Drake each having a mascot. Rupert finds Balboa the snake, and unfortunately Balboa does not make it through the night. And then Morgan finds Pelican Pete, who Austin threatens to murder because Austin doesn't like animals, apparently. So
Yeah, he don't.
Yep.
I was thinking though, I wonder if like how good meat that pelican would have been. Because like part of me had that thought. I was like, man, that pelican's getting close. I was like, y'all haven't been eating very well since Rupert left. Pelican meat's still protein.
That was just an enjoyable thing to watch.
Yeah.
It's not about tribe dynamics. It's not about challenges.
It was just goofiness like that was happening, and it was kind of dope.
Well, and you have someone like Rhino, who is like kind of this minor character this season. Like he's just kind of Andrew Savage's like wingman, and like is this small moment for him to be like, okay, he loves animals, and like
Yeah, you actually see a little bit of Rhino's personality come out. Like, oh, Rhino is this guy. This is who Rhino is.
Yeah,
and it was kind of dope. But like you said, yeah, he's like just in Andrew's shadow, for a lot of early on, which it's not really anybody's fault. It's not like Andrew's or even Rhino's fault. It's just how the dynamic of their tribe was going, and Andrew was the only one who was stepping up to be any kind of a leader.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and you do need somebody like Rhino to be in your corner because a leader's not anything without support, and Rhino was the support Andrew needed.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so then we get to the tribal, and this is where Fairplay and Trish try to target Rupert, and then I think we have to give credit to Rupert here for like having the relationships with Sandra and Krista to let him know, and then being able to get Sean to save him. Like, we have to give so much credit to Rupert for this, for being able to pull this off and save himself and get rid of Trish here.
I was stressing when I kept seeing like that he was the one they were in for. I was just like, what is everyone doing? Why would you get rid of one of your strongest? And then I was like, I forgot Survivor is a stupid game where being too strong is a problem, which always will bug me about Survivor to this day. That will never change. There is a problem of being too good.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get where it could be fair, you know what I mean? Because, then it means everybody has a chance because if you can get voted off, you get voted off. But it's so dumb. It was so frustrating to see that was even a discussion in that point in time.
Right.
And I think maybe because I think just I view it in the sense of a team aspect. And I always forget, like, there's a game beyond the team. Like, eventually it becomes everyone from themselves.
Right.
And I get that. I always forget about, but like I always think about it, it's like current, present, right now. We are in a team environment. Why the hell would I want to sabotage my own team anymore? Get rid of the cancers on the team. And at that point, Trish was one of them.
Yeah.
And John, I would say, was a fucking cancer because honestly, what bugs me is they let John do all this talking. And, like, this is credit to John for playing this right. But at the same time, it's frustrating because it felt like everybody else was stupid. Yeah. Nobody sat back and thought, what does John do? They get on people for not helping the tribe. What has John done?
Yeah.
One thing John contributed to that tribe.
Like, forever ago, in, like, episode 1 or 2, they were talking about how much they hated him.
Yeah.
Right. And also, at the same time, challenge-wise, what did John do? They were being carried by Rupert, Sean,
Burton. Yeah.
And in some cases, Sandra, in some aspects, in some shape or form. But mostly, it was the dudes. It was Burton, Sean, Rupert. Those were the big three workhorses that provided for the tribe, that won challenges for the tribe. And also was keeping mostly the tribe together. Because Sean and Burton were the poster boys. They were the duo that led it. Rupert was the workhorse.
Yeah.
What did John do? And that's the thing that's so stupid because, and again, John's playing the game right, and he's pushing the right buttons. He's taking advantage of people's stupidity, and that's all it is. It's stupidity.
Yeah.
The only time they start even thinking about putting his name on the ballot was after this shit because Rupert was the one that said, it's coming because he got pissed off.
Yep. You have the previews with
Yeah,
the
you've seen the
Rupert.
previews that he's fucking heated. So it's just like, you see now he's getting some attention. But that's the thing. I'm just like, that's why I think maybe that's also why Survivor's a weird game to me. That I feel like I think everybody thinks too much in the long run of the individual aspects of it.
Mhm.
But they always forget you have to get past today to make it to tomorrow. And
Right.
why won't you just solve your issue now? He's right there. Trish, for all her quirks, was not nearly as bad as John.
Oh,
If
no.
anything, they were the same damn person. Neither of them did shit. The only difference is John was kind of funny. That's it.
I don't think that makes up for the fact that he's not only is he not carrying the team for challenges, he's actually actively inhibiting them. Like Jeff pointed it out with him not seeing not seeming to know what to do with a rudder.
Yeah.
And they lost that challenge because they were all over the place in the water.
Yep.
And then him making unilateral decisions during the wait on the polls challenge. Like, he is not serving the tribe well right now. He is very clearly someone who only wants to play for himself. And
Right.
getting him out now is the appropriate way to decide I need to get someone out pre-merge because this person is going to stab me in the back later on.
Yeah.
Whereas Rupert is like, you do want to get him out. You need to get him out before the jury, but not before the merge. You cannot get Rupert out before the merge. He's
Right.
too important, not only for the challenges, but also for the tribe home life.
Yeah.
The theme so far of this season seems that everybody's in late game mindset. And they're not even there yet. You're not even at mid game yet, but you're trying to play the game as if it's everyone for themselves, which doesn't make sense to me. It's so stupid. Everybody's stupid. Even my boy Rupert for the longest time was just being stupid because it's just like, dude, fucking you have probably the most like head on your shoulders right now. Like, you are the most like stable. Why are you not using your connections? I mean, he did to save his own skin here.
Right.
But like, why are we not like addressing the fact that, hey, we've been talking about like what's good for the tribe, and we are not really looking at the loudmouth who's not contributing.
Right.
Because he's funny. And so like now I'm sitting here just thinking to myself, I'm like, is Johnny playing the game right, or is just everybody else just that dumb? Maybe it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Everybody seems so stupid in this game.
I almost think that the reason they went for Trish instead of John in this round is because they knew John was going to rub people the wrong way. So they're like, let's just get the other person out that's also causing trouble, but like people won't necessarily see it coming as much as they will with John.
I feel like at this point though, especially with just what we've seen, you see John is doing a lot of yapping. To me, that would be a bigger concern. Trish seems like somebody where, guess what? You put her in a corner, she's going to like ride with somebody who's going to save with her. Right. You see John doing all this yapping, he's going to jump ship consistently. That's been the most honest thing about John is like, you've seen the way he's been chatting. He puts himself in weird spots on purpose and everyone just ignores it.
Right.
And he's going to keep doing it because it's like, it's working. Why would he change the way he's playing? Like, yeah. Oh, it's so stupid. Like, everybody's so stupid in this game. Everybody's stupid. It's stupid. Survivor's stupid.
The fun part about it. All right. Well, since Will and I have seen the entire season at this point, JJ hasn't. We're going to go to predictions for our third podcast for episodes 7 through 10. And based on the preview for episode 7, JJ, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't even remember the preview for episode 7.
So they said the past has come back to haunt you. I don't know if you might have a thought on what that might mean.
I don't, to be honest. So I'm going to talk a little bit more out of my own head.
Yeah, go for it.
I think the merge is coming very soon. And I think Andrew and Rupert are going to dominate alliances. Johnny is going to continue to play his game and have a fringe alliance against that and end up getting one of those two out and then starting to control the game. I think that's going to start happening in the next 4 episodes.
That sounds plausible. Yeah, so I guess that's where we'll leave it for now. I mean, do you guys have any more thoughts on this group of episodes?
They're so stupid. Every one of them so stupid. Now I'm upset because now I was thinking about it. Now a deep dive back into this. So
Yeah.
stupid. They're all stupid. Everyone's stupid. I'm stupid.
I mean, as long as you're the one saying it.
Maybe I'm stupid because I think I'm smarter than everybody. That's very true. I'm very dumb. But at the same time, come on. Just
All right. Well, yeah, so next Sunday we will be back for episodes 7 through 10. So we're halfway through this Survivor for Noobs series, at least on Pearl Islands. And as far as Survivor stuff coming up, otherwise we will be doing a Survivor trivia challenge for my birthday next week. So this week. So very excited for that and to stream that. Anything else before we sign off? All right.
Dude.
We will
Just Jakeception.
Jakeception.
Have 2 Jakes.
Seeing double.
It's
All
just
right.
me here.
All right. Well, we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.